We want your comments in there. I mean, do you guys agree with us so far? I mean, as our recap, we've whacked Daniel Jones. We don't like that situation. We whacked Sam Darnold because, I mean, these are unstable situations. We don't know what's going on. And for the present time, these guys are getting whacked. We whacked Derek Carr because Mike just thinks he's a bum.
He's a bum.
He's a bum. And who else? And Jaden Daniels, because that's just not a good situation. That's not a good situation. I mean, Mariota may end up being the starter coming out. We don't know these things. So that's why they got whacked. Pete the Unaliver.
Took care of that thing for you.
Thank you, Pete, for getting us down to 11.
So number 11 is Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
For the Arizona Cardinals, he's got Marvin Harrison now. He's got a running game with James Conner. They also drafted a running back. And they made a couple nice additions on defense. They drafted Darius Robinson, the edge rusher. They're probably going to suck. They're probably going to come in last in their division. But I'd put Kyler Murray on my team as the quarterback before any of these other 5 guys that we just knocked off this list.
Right. And you know what? We actually agree right here. I believe that. I mean, but I will have you know that even though Kyler Murray is ranked 11 on our list, I do believe that he's ranked 3 in the world in Modern Warfare. All right. So for this next, that we have a group of a couple quarterbacks that we're going to hit next right here, where we've kind of agreed in what the 3 guys are, but maybe we're a little bit different on here. So let's take a look at some of these guys, because I didn't think we were going to get a rookie in here, Mike, but there it is. You got Caleb Williams, Geno Smith, and Tampa Baker Mayfield right there. So, where are you at? I mean, yeah.
Well, this is Russ and I have these guys 8, 9, and 10. It's just where are they slotted 8, 9, and 10. So put those pictures up again. Let's take a good look and make up our minds here what we're going to do. You've got Caleb Williams. Yes, he's a rookie, but watch the tape on him. Kid's electric. Okay, he keeps his eyes downfield, great pocket awareness. He's got a trio of killer receivers. He's got great, I would not say great, but very good, solid tight ends. And a trio of running backs, Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, and DeAndre Swift, who give you a little bit of everything. A little thunder, a little lightning, catching out of the backfield. Some nice weapons set up for Caleb Williams. This is how he makes the top 11. And for me, he is even above Geno Smith, but he is not above Baker Mayfield. So I have Baker Mayfield number 8, Caleb Williams number 9, and Geno Smith number 10. So Geno Smith comes in just above Kyler Murray for me in the same division.
So I love that. I mean, that's that makes sense. That makes complete sense right there. So where I got these guys is, like, to me, I asked myself the question, is Caleb Williams, like, do I like that situation better? Because I don't know how he's going to play in his rookie year, and I don't want to just assume and give him a bad grade just because he's a rookie. I have Geno Smith as the number 10. And I just think that Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback. He's in a better situation. They brought back the offensive playmakers like Mike Evans, and that dude just spits out 1,000-yard seasons year after year after year. So I got Baker Mayfield slid in there, and I'm actually going to transition us here because I got a surprise, because I'm actually going to put Caleb Williams ahead of the 8th guy, which I'm going to put in here. And this is more of an injury thing, but my number 8 guy as a surprise is Kirk Cousins. He's the
wow. I
have him at the 8, and we're talking about the situation right here and right now. I mean, he's got that Achilles thing. I don't know if he's really going to be healed from that. They just drafted a kid, and I don't know if they really know what they're doing in Atlanta. It really kind of shook them at the core to have them even draft a quarterback after they spend $40+ million a year on Kirk Cousins. So
Right.
I don't think that he's going to be ready. So I'm putting Caleb Williams ahead of Kirk Cousins, more on the line, because I don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to make it through the season. And Caleb Williams has got a plethora of weapons. He's being dropped into a really, really good situation. So I'm going to put Kirk Cousins at 8, and Caleb Williams, I'm going to slide him in there at 7.
Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield or Geno Smith?
Geno Smith is 10. Baker Mayfield 9. Kirk Cousins is 8. And then I got Caleb Williams
at number 7.
Slotted in at number 7.
All right. Well, I have Caleb Williams at 9 and Baker Mayfield at 8. At number 7, I have Brock Purdy, because I'm not sold on Brock Purdy like everyone else. That's right. I'm not sold on this guy. I mean, you could put Sam Darnold on that team like he was last year, and if Brock hadn't beat him out, I think they would have had similar results. That's a stacked team up and down the line. Brock Purdy, he's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He's good. But is he $50 million a year? I don't think so. Not yet. I haven't seen that from him. His numbers are pedestrian. He doesn't have a lot of attempts right now.
Wow.
So I have Brock Purdy number 7.
That is a hot take right there, man. Wow. Putting Brock Purdy there.
All right. So number 6 for me is Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers. I think he's in a good situation. I think they made some moves. I like the way they upgraded their secondary with Xavier McKinney. They needed safety help bad by bringing him in. He's one of the best in the league. They also drafted a couple safeties. The Green Bay Packers have made typical Green Bay Packer moves. No big splashes, just good, solid additions, and they drafted well, just like they always do. I think Love's in a great situation. He showed the second half of the season last year. He is the real deal. I think this kid's only going to get better. I don't think he's going to regress. So I got him as the 6th best QB in the NFC right now. By next year, he could be in the top 3.
I was checking out this number 6 quarterback for me, and I'm looking through. He's got 3,858 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, and he also added 605 rushing yards and added 15 touchdowns on the ground. But here's the problem, and this is why I stuck him here. Jalen Hurts.
What?
I got him at number 6 because along with those 23 passing touchdowns, he threw 15 interceptions. And along with those 15 rushing touchdowns, he fumbled the ball 9 times. So I love the production. I love what people can do on the off-platform stuff, but you saw it in the playoffs. And maybe I'm even putting him here because I'm sorry, you had Matt Patricia on your team, and we all know how that ends for everybody right there. So I got Jalen Hurts as the number 6 quarterback in the NFC. So you got number 5.
Yeah, that's your call, and I respect it. Number 5 for me, Dak Prescott. If you put him on another team, I wonder if he would even rank this high. Something about Dallas and Dak Prescott, they just love him there. He puts up monster numbers, but he folds like a lawn chair in the playoffs. Just a couple of different decisions here and there not to slide to get the first down, letting time run out. We might be having a different conversation about Dak Prescott. You can win 12 games all year, but if you can't get it done in the playoffs, you're not going to make it into the top 3 in Main Event Mike's list. So at number 5, I got Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowboys.
And I love that call because we're actually aligned here. We've been intertwining these things, and this was a tough decision. And when I'm looking at Dak Prescott and I'm looking at Jalen Hurts, and I had really thought about flip-flopping these guys because I really hate Dak Prescott. And I really wanted to hate him out of the top 5. But then really I look at a very similar skill set, very similar kind of, you got big weapons. You got, you're trying to do this big offense thing. Dak Prescott's just sitting there with 4,500 yards, only 7 interceptions. He doesn't turn the ball over. That was the difference between, because I had those guys slotted, 5 and 6. But that was the difference. I got Dak Prescott as my number 5 quarterback in the NFC.
Right, and I would have rated Dak higher had they still had Tony Pollard. All right, I would have rated Dak Prescott higher had they still had Dalton Schultz. But they have no one. They didn't do a thing in the offseason. We're all in, Jerry Jones says. All in what? All in on doing nothing. You did nothing. You brought back Ezekiel Elliott at 39 years old. That's your answer? They have another running back. His name starts with a D. He's a total nobody. That's all you have? And yeah, CeeDee Lamb, he's great. He's top 3, maybe top 5 in the whole league. He's good. But what else you got after that? Ferguson, the tight end, he's mid.
Right.
Michael Gallup, he's getting older and mid. They have nothing to help Dak. I would have rated Dak higher had he been in a situation like my number 4 quarterback, Kirk Cousins. I have Kirk Cousins rated number 4. You have Drake London. You have Kyle Pitts. You have Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. You have at least a mid defense. You have a top 10 offensive line. I love this situation for Kirk Cousins. He's a very accurate quarterback. He's gritty. He's a leader. The team, everybody loves Kirk Cousins. He's the nicest guy in the world. For the rules we're using today, Russ, I got to put Kirk Cousins ahead of Dak Prescott, even though in reality he's probably not as good a quarterback as Dak Prescott. But the situation he's in Atlanta, Raheem Morris is going to be a solid coach. You mark my words on that. I think Kirk Cousins number 4 for me.
You like that? I mean, Kirk is probably ashamed of me, but Kirk, I only took you out of this spot. Like, I could see him being the number 4 quarterback in the NFC, just like you said. He actually goes out there and he's able to utilize those weapons, just like you said. And so I do like that call. I'm trying to give some love here. A little bit of love to Jordan Love. Love is my number 4 quarterback right there. You can't deny the situation, okay? He's got 2 young tight ends. He's got a trio of really, really good wide receivers and another trio of wide receivers behind those wide receivers that are also young and learning with Jordan Love. But I got to give the devil his due. Jordan Love, we didn't think that you were going to be anything. We all were like, yeah, whatever. You're just the tool, the guy, the in-between before Sean Clifford takes over or whatever bullshit we were trying to sling. But he came in midway through the season, slowed down a little bit for him. They started winning some games. You won a playoff game. I think that's a nice, clever spot to stick Jordan Love, and I think it's respectful too as a rival.
4.
At number 4. But I do have Matt Stafford at number 3 because, Jared Goff just beat him in a playoff game. They went head up and, so,
it's my quarterback.
My quarterback won that. So
I also have Matt Stafford at number 3 as the number 3 ranked quarterback in the NFC. And, if it was a couple of years ago, he probably would have been number 1 or number 2 when Aaron Rodgers was gone. Probably one of the most talented arms the NFL's ever seen. He can make any throw, and he still can make any throw. And in this situation that he's in right now with Cooper Kupp and a young stud receiver like Puka Nacua, they just draft Blake Corum. Kyron Williams showed out last year, showed that he's a feature back. They have a nice 1-2 punch in the backfield now. Tyler Higbee, still a hole there at tight end for me. Even with his bad knee, even if he didn't have a bad knee, I didn't even put him in the top half of the tight ends in this league. I know they did bring over a free agent tight end too, but Matt Stafford, that's why he's in the top 3, because he has the arm talent. He's a gritty guy. We've all loved him, right? So, yeah, I don't think there's any shame being 3, especially when you look at the 2 guys that I have ahead of him.
Beautiful. And now we're down to the final 2. And this is where, the homer in me wants them to let my quarterback be the best quarterback. I want to put him at number 1, but I couldn't do that if I'm even following my own rules. I think this is where Jared Goff slides right in here very nicely as the number 2 quarterback in the NFC. And it's just is what it is. You can like it. You can, whatever you want to feel about it, but he runs a great offense. And you want to talk about a situation? You're talking about a whole bunch of skilled players that are progressing all together. You got the best offensive line in football. He put up, 4,600 yards, 12 turnovers, 30 touchdowns. great running game. So Jared Goff is for this offense, he's going to do a good job, and I have him slotted as the number 2 quarterback in the NFC.
I also have Jared Goff as the number 2 quarterback in the NFC, which means you and I both have a different number 1, which is very, very interesting. You had Jordan Love at number 4. I had him at number 6. You had Caleb Williams at 7. I had him at 9.
Right.
But we run down here 3, 2. We line up Stafford and Goff. Hey, every statistical category, Jared Goff was top 5 in the entire league last year. Okay, and it should be mentioned, folks, this is just the NFC. If you look at the grand scheme, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the AFC that are better than all of these guys. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson would probably rank ahead of all of these guys. And then you could look, Aaron Rodgers is there now, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence. All of these guys would rate ahead of a lot of these guys. NFC got some tough divisions, some really good teams. But at the quarterback position, it's the AFC that's got the real cream of the crop. So we're just ranking a top 10 here, NFC quarterbacks. But because we're musicians, ours go to 11. And it's time now for Russell Wayne's number 1 NFC quarterback.
My number 1 quarterback, and by my own rule, I had to go with this. And you had him ranked way lower, but I got to go with Brock Purdy. And the thing is I looked up the stats. I was really just trying to really look at this. For one, he went to the Super Bowl. And I'm not going to knock the guy. This is the same thing that people do to Jared Goff. I am not going to knock the guy because he has Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. He had 4,200 yards. George Kittle. He's got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to offensive line and the way they've constructed that team. But the thing is, he still went out there and he still threw for 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, and only 11 interceptions. And he went out there and added another 2 touchdowns on the ground because he does have a little bit of wiggle when he's running the football too. Put up the numbers, and the numbers back up him being a good quarterback. I can't help it that if I throw it to Deebo Samuel, he scores. But the bottom line is he's getting the ball into the hand of his playmakers, and he went to the Super Bowl. And I can't, with a good conscience, put Jared Goff ahead of Brock Purdy when he beat him. So Brock Purdy's my number 1 quarterback in the NFC.
All right. Time now for my number 1 quarterback. Russ had my number 1 quarterback rated number 6. Because we are looking at the situation they're in now, and Matt Patricia is no longer in Philadelphia. But you still got A.J. Brown. You still got Devontae Smith. You have Saquon Barkley. You have a top 5 defense, a top 3 offensive line. You're a runner. You got a cannon for an arm. I know that Russ thinks that Jalen Hurts was exposed last year, and he took a downturn from being in the Super Bowl the year before. I disagree. I think it was just a fluke. I think it was the whole team was quitting around him. Everything was falling apart. They went out to 10. They won 10 games in a row, I believe, at the start of the season last year. And then it was just, they brought in Matt Patricia, and that was the cancer that killed the team. And he's not going to be there this time. Jalen Hurts is an absolute stud. It's why they paid him $58 million a year. And he's young, strong, so strong. That tush push, as everyone hates it, I just hate saying it, but it's unstoppable. And if it's 4th and 1, you're getting it. And then you've got all those weapons. He's got a cannon of an arm. He can run. He's a hell of a leader. Nobody works harder than this guy. I would take Jalen Hurts over any quarterback in the NFC, and I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. So there it is. The top 11 quarterbacks in the NFC as
my quarterback
by the Villain Squad. Let's see what we got in the comments now. KC says the brotherly shove. Yeah, push tush, whatever you want to call it. Purdy at 4 over Cousins. Elise Memes is completely confused by your choice there, Russ. John says his offense is solid and had the arm. Love Stafford. Stafford was. Roy said I had to go eat dinner, but number 4 is still too high for Love. Love ended the season with the worst across the field pass in history. He's got some Dak in him. Nice. I love that. Hey, man, thanks everyone for being with us. Don't forget, we are back every single Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time for the Main Event Football Show. Be sure to look for us on wherever you get your podcasts. It's not there right now, but it's going to be very soon. Anywhere where you get your podcasts, you'll be able to hear this show. Thanks to Joe Chapp and the boys for letting us broadcast into Detroit Lions News Podcast. Be sure to follow us at Lions Villain Squad on Facebook and at Villain Squad on YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Click an emoji on your way out the door. For Russell Wayne, I'm Main Event Mike saying, God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.